Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Brent Bowers. In this area right here in front of me is my money. So every once in a great while, I like to sit down and contemplate and reflect on my life just to see if it matches where I thought it would be 5-10 years prior. Now, full disclosure, I do enjoy thinking about the past. You can call it whatever you want to, digging up old memories, revisiting old places, nostalgia. It gives me a sense of clarity and hope for the future, but more specifically now more than it ever has been, simply because I recently turned 38 years old. I know, thank you so much. I honestly, I didn't think I was gonna make it this far either. Of course, I know it doesn't look like it because I do drink a lot of water. I have a really good skin and hair routine that I do every night. Just kidding, but I do drink a lot of water. I like to think I'm at a very unique limbo moment in my life right now, simply because I'm not young anymore. I can't play the young guy card. I'm some young teen, 20-something-year-old. I have a bunch of time in front of me. But then again, I'm not considered old by any standard. It's interesting to have that frame of reference. I still like doing the things I like doing when I was younger. I'm still a very, very active person. It kind of puts me in a very unique, interesting situation. I did some digging and it turns out I am in fact a millennial, which is kind of strange for me. I'm actually an older millennial, a subsection of the millennial time frame, which is called a zennial. So I actually kind of thought that was comical. I really enjoy it, but it does put me in a unique position to give my younger self some financial wisdom, since it has been 20 years since I've graduated from high school. Now, all of this lends us directly here in front of me to ask this one critical question, and that is, what financial piece of wisdom would I give myself just graduating from high school? You're gonna wanna strap in because it's about to get bumpy. Right out of the gate, the year is 2002, and in a few weeks, the younger version of myself will be graduated from high school, a monumental task for a lot of teenagers in that age group. To put that into perspective, the 9/11 terrorist attacks happened when I was a senior in high school. It was a very defining moment for a lot of people. The school year is a bit winding down. People are signing each other's yearbooks, talking about prom and where they're going to go to college, the memories that they've had, the 4 years that they've been in high school. People are talking about their favorite subject in school, where they're going to go to college. It's a big, big, important moment for high schoolers. However, financial advice at that age is seldom given between your peers. So here is one piece of financial advice that I would give my younger self, and this one is for the record books. This brings us to number 1 on the list. Start investing immediately, like right now. I cannot emphasize this point enough for younger Brent just getting out of high school. I say this very specifically because, take it from me, there is no finance course in high school. There's no investment, there's no corporate banking, there's no business courses, there's no accounting. Maybe there is, there wasn't when I was there. And case in point, it's just strange because you really don't get a financial investment education in high school at that age. And if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, you would have that conversation with your parents when you were younger, but there really is no money talk. Money talk for a lot of youngsters at that age was save your money, and there's just no financial context. You'll probably get exposed to it at the middle school if you're lucky, at high school at the very earliest. One of the saving graces I had when I was in high school was getting a part-time job at Papa Murphy's Pizza, putting pizzas together as soon as I got my worker's permit at age 15. Teenagers getting pumped up to get some work experience or to go to college, they really have no idea about taxes, about investments, about banking, checking credit cards and stuff like that. And it's really interesting because I didn't either. And well, why would you? Well, why wouldn't you? I don't know about a lot of people at my age, but as soon as I saw hard-earned money coming into my bank account, I reacted the same way other teenagers and people just getting out of high school reacted. They wanted to spend it. They didn't want to save it. They didn't want to invest it. They wanted to spend it. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I can't really speak for a whole lot of other people out there during that time frame, at that age group. But for me specifically, I didn't know about investments. I didn't know about savings, credit cards, checking account, balancing your assets and your liabilities. I really didn't know about that stuff. And well, why would you? Because at that age and time, you really don't need to have a whole lot of money. Now, let me explain. As funny as that sounds, there really is no recourse for somebody that doesn't have any money. Take it from me at that age where I was still living with my parents. I just got out of high school. I have small cash flow, zero liabilities. What am I gonna do? I don't wanna learn about investments. I wanna have fun and spend my money, which is the worst frame of mind you can be in going into college or going into the work environment. I do remember the big turning point for me was when my dad, in the middle of high school, helped me purchase my first car. It was a 1988 Honda Accord with maroon interior. I loved that thing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because it taught me a lot about financing, taught a lot about saving your money and earning, and then having the foresight to understand what your liabilities are gonna be in the future. I'm bringing this up because the whole me getting my car in the middle of high school taught me a lot about responsibility. I had to pay for car insurance, I had to pay for gas, I had to pay for maintenance on the vehicle, I'd drive my friends around. It instilled with me a lot of responsibility, and I had in my mind, well, as soon as I get money, I can't really spend it because I have all these things I have to take care of. So if you want to teach a younger person about responsibility, give them something to be responsible for when it comes to finances. So if you are watching this video, younger Brent, take it from me, save your money, invest your money as early as humanly possible. Trust me on this one. And as soon as, I know you want to spend it, I know you want to spend your money, but don't. What you need to do is start automating your investments. And I say that specifically because it's very easy for younger people, youngsters just getting out of high school like yourself, automate your investments. What I mean by that is, as soon as you get that paycheck, already allocate some of that money before you see the amount to an investment. Take it from me, it's pretty easy to do. I know you want to spend your money on clothes and you want to hang out and have a good time. That's cool. I know you have liabilities to get around, but that's not an excuse. You really want to start investing and do it early. You're going to thank me. So just take a lump sum of cash out of your check and allocate it to an investment index, which is perfectly fine. Trust me, you're going to be thanking me in 20 years. I decided to put this piece of advice number one on the list simply because it has the greatest impact to affect a lot of high schoolers during that time period, and it did for me when I was in high school. I say this passionately, specifically, simply because high schoolers don't really have a lot of foresight going into something serious such as college. And next thing you know, they don't have a lot of financial experience, so they're going to start incurring a 4-year debt with not a whole lot of foresight on how they're going to pay it back. They're already at a disadvantage financially. And I wanted to highlight the importance of having maybe a lump sum of cash, getting a part-time job somewhere in high school, during high school or in college, to hedge against a potential future large liability, which, believe me, you're going to be having. All right, so number 2 on the list is take a gap year. I didn't do that. I went full blast in college. I made a lot of mistakes. Take a gap year. What I mean by that is, as soon as you graduate, take some time, a little bit of time for yourself to figure out what you want to do. One of the most important questions a high schooler can ask themselves that I didn't when I was that age was, is college life for them? And it's important because when you take into consideration the time and the cost, it's a big impact on a high schooler's life. And this is unfortunate because when I was in high school, and I think a lot of high schoolers maybe watching this video can attest to this, there was this gigantic misconception that you had to go to college. If you don't go to college, you won't get that degree. If you don't get that degree, you won't get the job. If you don't get the job, you won't get the money. If you don't get the money, you're gonna be poor. If you're poor, you failed at life. Okay, so I know it's not that extreme, but there was this gigantic misconception that high school is just a segue to the most important aspect of life, which is getting that college degree. Okay, so I know it's not that extreme, but there is this unspoken force in high school that's saying you gotta get that college experience. Well, the only thing you're really getting is a massive debt and a piece of paper that said you took college courses in an academic setting. I definitely would not make the mistake in assuming the I went to college card is gonna be knocking down doors to all these companies everywhere. It's really not, and don't feel bad, I bought into that misconception too. Take it from me, take it from a guy that has 3 degrees. The most important thing to put on a resume is in fact work experience. Why? Because practical knowledge and practical experience in a particular topic is 10 times better than a theoretical knowledge. I do put such a large emphasis on waiting because individuals at that age, including myself, we do lack a lot of foresight. And it seems to me that the decision to go to college is based upon a lot of the preconceptions in high school and of course the peer pressure by your friends. They went to college and everybody else is going to college and I want to do what they're going to do, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to college. What I'm trying to drive home is the point that there are a lot of things out there that are just better just to do them than actually go to college for them. Like take driving or riding a bike. It's much better to just start doing them. And working out your finances and finding out your passion with work works in a very similar way. By the time high school is over, you would potentially have some sort of idea of your passion, whether it's art, whether it's history, sports, photography, painting, cooking, whatever it is, you have an idea of what you want to do or what you want to research. My advice there is just to take a gap year and research those topics without incurring a whole lot of liability at a 4-year. One of the best ways to achieve what I'm describing is to enroll yourself at a community college. If you're on the fence about even incurring that much liability by going to a 4-year, take it from me, take a gap year, find out your passion, and enroll yourself at a community college. The reason why I say this is because you can potentially test the waters of any particular subject without incurring a huge cost at a 4-year. Go ahead and take that filming course that you've always wanted to take. Dip your feet into that foreign language, German, Spanish class that you've been wanting to try. Brush up on your accounting skills. You can get a lot of experience and a lot of data about a particular interest that you might have without incurring a 4-year debt. And of course, if you're worried about you getting in somewhere, a lot of the times JCs, especially in California, accept direct transfers to a 4-year university. They actually have contracts saying, get 2 years in, study what you want to study, and then transfer. It's pretty convenient, and that's exactly what I did. All right, so this brings us to number 3 on the list. The third advice that I would give the younger version of myself just getting out of high school, and that is don't buy liabilities, for the love of God. One thing I definitely wasn't in high school / college was cheap. I definitely wasn't cheap. Why? Because I was always making income. I always had a job at the time and I didn't respect my assets. Driving, spending money on gas, that's no big deal. Sporting tickets, that's no big deal. Taking my friends out for dinner, movie, that's fantastic. And I didn't really worry about that kind of stuff because I was always producing income. So my frame of mind there was, I don't really need a whole lot of assets or worry about the whole lot of assets in the future because I was always making it. So my frame of mind was kind of messed up that it doesn't matter how many liabilities I incur, I could always make more money and I would actually never need more money than what I was making right now. Wrong, completely wrong. I'm giving myself this piece of advice because this is exactly what I didn't do a few years after high school. And I really regret this because there was no recourse for my poor spending habits. I decided to put this at number 3 on the list because I really wanted to teach myself this when I was younger and I never got a chance to. There was no recourse for my poor spending habits. And it sucks because I know a lot of people at that age, they tend to learn something very valuable when they get older in life, and it sucks because I wanted to teach myself this a long time ago. There's going to be always recourses for you spending more money than you have. I do remember making decent money a few years when I got out of high school. For a 22-year-old, I was able to pay my bills, but this eventually caught up with me. When I decided to transfer to a 4-year, I had to pay tuition, in-state tuition, travel costs for my car, gas, insurance, cell phone bills, credit card payments, and eventually caught up with me. And I could have taught myself this several years prior if I just had better management experience with my assets. And things like this can get quickly out of hand for a lot of high schoolers just starting college, or for college kids trying to graduate, is if you don't have any financial discipline, if you're always incurring liabilities, you're probably going to stay that way for a long period of time. So teach yourself financial discipline. Don't buy liabilities. I do wish at the end of high school I would have taught myself this lesson. of the distinction between individuals working for money and money working for individuals. It's definitely something I lacked, and it's definitely something I didn't understand during that time frame. And it's what a lot of teeny boppers fall victim to, is the money trap. This topic made number 3 in the list because of the type of money trap I'm describing is very easy to fall victim to. It's not really recognizable for the younger generation. And that is, younger Brent, if you're watching this, you will be peer pressured into doing things and buying things for yourself or for other people that are horrible investments, simply because you will try to impress people that don't like you. And I don't know why that is. It's just the high school phenomenon, but don't buy into it. Don't buy liabilities. You don't need to impress anybody. Focus on yourself financially. I personally believe this is very important to bring up to a younger generation. If you're watching this, you had kids, you definitely want to teach them about 401ks, retirement, especially retirement, investing, stocks, bonds. And it's really not something that individuals in that peer group talk about. They just want to spend their money and have fun and have a good time, but you definitely want to get in the position where you're not screwed. Number 4 on the list is something that I definitely want to tell to my younger self, and that is understand risk and reward. I say this passionately, I say this specifically because if you absolutely have your mind set on college, and if you're one of those people, if you absolutely have to go, and there's no two ways about it, your parents went, your friends went to this school, you gotta go, you gotta do it, take this piece of advice that I'm about to give you. Understand cost, the whole thing, not just year by year or loan by loan. Understand how much you're going to be owing at the end of your magical journey. Have an idea of how much you're going to pay back. It's critically important to think about that. Think about the cost. A good way to start is in-state tuition, how much that's going to cost if you commute to college like I did. I got fortunate. I didn't have to pay room and board for anything. But if you do want to stay at the university, if you do want to join a sorority or a fraternity, it's going to cost even more money, room and board, the food bill, a lot of other things that you need to take in consideration. Having the full year college experience is going to be quite the cost to absorb after you graduate. So having an understanding of how much you're going to be paying, the cost up front, if you have your mindset on college, just know that number so you can compare yourself, mainly because I want to highlight something, and it's very important to take this into consideration if you are in that age group where you're contemplating whether or not you want to go to college. And for my younger self out there, every high schooler, their reason for going to college is a bit different, and I understand this. And if you're that person, bless your soul. I just happen to go. It's one of those unique experiences, and it's very fun, and I totally get that. It's traveling to a new city or new town, maybe in your home state, hanging around people that are kind of your age, having this new experience, this new life away from your home, away from your family, meeting new friends, going to parties, potentially meeting a girlfriend or boyfriend, and having a great time. And you do have a great time, but at what cost? There's this blinder on people that they don't see the other side of what they're currently going through. You want to enjoy the college experience, that's fantastic. Go for it. You do you. It's just that at the end of it, there's a big cloud looming over you that you have to take in consideration. And that's why I wanted to highlight this, the risk and reward. The reward is having the experience. The risk is having that liability to pay off after you graduate. Of course, one of the benefits of actually going to college is the experience, and it is fun. You do make memories, and it does help get a job on your resume. It looks really good, but at what cost? Factor that in. If you don't believe me, take a look at the list of people at what age group they're currently paying back their student loans. It's pretty big, and rate at which college debt is accumulating over a period of time. It's pretty staggering of how much money people have paid versus maybe 30 years ago. It's like night and day difference of people getting to large amounts of debt. So if you find yourself having this attitude or having this frame of reference that you want to have the college experience, but you're not taking your liabilities seriously, you're not taking your liabilities into consideration, save your money, get a bunch of books on the topic that you want to do, talk about and research, and do it that way. Save yourself a bunch of heartache, save yourself some money, and just go ahead and invest instead. If you are one of the lucky high schoolers that decides to go to a 4-year university, bless your soul, that's fantastic. But if you are one of the people that you want to go for just the experience, I would recommend, sorting out your life a little bit better and asking yourself why you want this experience. Because take it from me, degrees are more or less an investment. If you don't treat your degree like an investment, if you're not getting something back times 10, it's not worth it. Especially if you take degrees aren't created equal. So if you're one of those people that take a useless degree, I don't say useless, like underwater basket weaving or dance therapy, whatever it is, understand your market, understand your place after you graduate. So if you're taking a useless degree and incurring all this debt and it doesn't pay off in the future, why are you in college to begin with? I say know your market because that's exactly what I didn't do in college during my undergrad. I did for graduate, not undergrad, because at the time I wanted to be an attorney and I decided to major in political science because I thought I was going to be one of those guys. Law school just didn't work for me whatsoever, but I ended up taking a gap year after graduating from high school, getting into investments, and decided to spend that money because I know at the end of the day, that investment is gonna pay off. Think of the same way at the end of high school if college is gonna be for you. Make sure that your investment in your degree, into your knowledge base, is gonna pay off in the future. If it does, fantastic, college is for you. If it's not, you'd be better off just investing your money and researching by buying a bunch of books on the topic. So the last piece of advice that I want to give the younger version of me watching this video is have a goal. Have a goal, and this might be a completely overplayed piece of advice to give the younger version of you, but it really is. And I say this specifically because of the other end of that piece of advice is have a goal, but make sure you're achieving the steps to achieve that goal. Make sure you're taking steps to get to that end result. And this isn't something I did when I was in college, getting out of high school. I didn't have any direction. Now, I know I said earlier, take a gap year to figure out what you want to do, but have a goal to achieve it. Don't just aim in several different directions and spend your money doing things that you don't want to do just because you're bored. And that's something that I didn't do, and that's something that I regret when I was younger. An example would be just think of something that you want to achieve. It could be anything. Paying off credit card debt, if you actually have credit card debt at that age, buying a new car or a used car, saving money for college, purchasing your first property, taking a class, traveling, whatever it is that you want to do, have steps. No, I'm serious. Take a piece of paper and write down the steps to achieve it. And the steps could be many different things. It could be, okay, well, I'm gonna save this amount of money the first step. I'm gonna find out what the costs are for this step. I'm gonna get several quotes. I'm gonna find out what I need to do. I'm gonna talk to people that have already done it. Write down the steps that you need to take to get to that end goal. And I say this specifically because I didn't do this. I spent a lot of time in undergrad just kind of moving around, finding my place and finding out what I would like doing. And I know this doesn't have to relate to finance. Well, it does a little bit relate to finance because time is money, and you don't want to be wasting your money, wasting your time doing things that aren't going to add up to that end goal. So the last piece of advice I want to give younger Brent watching, have a goal and have steps to get to that goal. All right, so that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. A few takeaways really quick. Start investing your money immediately. If you have kids getting out of high school, going to college, make sure that they're at least saving some of their money into an index. The sooner the better. Start investing your money. I didn't do that when I was younger, and I wish I did. So that's a very, very strong piece of advice because it will pay dividends in 20 years when they're making YouTube videos about how to spend money. Believe me. Number two, take a gap year. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. Take your foot off the gas. Take a gap year, get books of the subject that you want to learn more about. You don't have to incur a huge liability by going to college. You really don't need to do that. If you just test the waters out, imagine going to Baskin-Robbins and getting that little pink spoon to get the sample of the ice cream that you want to try, but you're not quite sure if you want to get the whole sundae. It's like that. I can't tell you how many times that have happened where I tried something and like, you know what, I really don't like that flavor. Let's do something different. Life is the same way. Go to a JC, take that course that you want to take and test out the waters, but have a goal. Definitely have a goal. Okay, so take a gap year, find out what you want to do, find your passion, and more specifically, if you need to invest something, make sure that you're doing it for all the right reasons. And number 3, risk and reward. Definitely take in consideration if college is your thing, understand your liabilities and understand how much you're going to be paying for that experience and that piece of paper. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. And what I want you to do is just take the like button and drop kick it across the room so that YouTube knows I'm alive on this channel. If you do want to see more videos just like this one, consider being a subscriber. That's all I have for you guys today. I'm Brent Bowers and this is My Money. I'll see you guys in the next one.